from Kush Desai, quote, as I've often said, our commitment to free trade is also a commitment to fair trade. And that's a quote from President Ronald Reagan. So this happened. This is from the Ronald Reagan Presidential Foundation and Institute. They learned that the government of Ontario, Canada, created an ad campaign using selective audio and video of President Ronald Reagan delivering his, quote, radio address to the nation on free and fair trade, end quote, dated on April 25th, 1987. The ad misrepresents the presidential radio address, and the government of Ontario did not seek nor receive permission to use and edit the remarks. The Ronald Reagan Presidential Foundation and Institute is reviewing its legal options in this matter. We encourage you to watch President Reagan's unedited video on our YouTube channel. And President Trump, he posted on his True Social about this. The Ronald Reagan Foundation has just announced that Canada has fraudulently used an advertisement, which is fake, featuring Ronald Reagan speaking negatively about tariffs. The ad was for $75 million. They only did this to interfere with the decision of the U.S. Supreme Court and other courts. Tariffs are very important to the national security and economy of the USA. Based on their egregious behavior, all trade negotiations with Canada are hereby terminated. Thank you for your attention to this matter, President Donald J. Trump. All right. And of course, Canada, they got plenty of tariffs against the United States. They have for decades. But, but it works for them if they use the tariffs, but it's not good when we use them, though. From RNC Research, you voted for the shutdown, dipshit. And this is in response to Rep. Eric Swallowswell. It's day 23 of the second longest government shutdown. Republicans, fix it. We need to go back to work and serve the people we represent. And I'm actually kind of surprised he didn't get ratioed. It came pretty close, 748 to 644. I can only imagine... Probably can't go too far because things get a little spicy on the X platform in the comments section. So anyway, current member of Congress, CCP spy. We already saw that to be true. I'm surprised that they're not going after him with any criminal investigation with regard to that, because I'm sure he gave her plenty of intel. All right, so why did you vote to close it again? And do you still SD for free? I almost read it, but no, almost. So anyway, this was the initial vote. The yes is the vote to pass the CR funding or spending bill to keep the government reopened until the end of November, when the big spending bill is up for a vote. 55% of Republicans voted yes to pass the CR bill. When was that at this point? It was September 30th, wasn't it? And the Democrats, of course, voted no, and they're the ones that received the check mark because the Senate needs 60 votes in order for the funding bill to pass. As it says up there at the top, requires 60% of the vote to pass. So the Democrats effectively won, even though they're the minority. That's how the Senate works. Anyway, so let me head back to where we were. From Speaker Mike Johnson, Chuck Schumer wants only 4 people to go into a smoke-filled back room. I'm sure it's not literally smoke-filled, but I get what he's saying. He wants to quietly meet behind closed doors so the media and the public doesn't hear what he really wants to propose. And of course, he's going to say, I'm telling you this in confidence. This is classified. And, because I'm sure there's probably certain rooms in Congress that if you're officially inside that room, everything that you say in there is quote unquote classified. And I'm sure that's exactly where Chuck Schumer wants to go. So anyway, he wants to meet in private behind the backs of the American people to cut some shady deal. That's not how this works. I promise to end Congress's bad habit of backroom shadowy politics. I refuse to cut secret deals that put the American people last. But that's what Schumer has always done during his 44 years in Congress. The old way stops now. Well, that's very admirable of Speaker Johnson. Highly respect him for doing that, if indeed what he is saying is true, which I don't think that would surprise anybody. I'm sure Chuck Schumer, he practically lives in those rooms. But anyway, here, let's hear what he has to say.
There's also been
on
reports,
CNBC
Speaker, that Leader Schumer would almost like to have almost a backroom negotiation. Maybe it would involve President Trump. Maybe it would involve
probably
Majority
not.
Leader Thune. Maybe you as well. To just get a couple of things out, not to.
Yeah, and I would love to hear what he would say, which Speaker Johnson wants all of us to hear what he has to say. It would be something like, okay, well, maybe we bit off more than we can chew. So what can we do to make this go away? Or he might just go in there and say, okay, we don't want 1.5 trillion. We want 1.49 trillion dollars worth of spending for illegal immigrants and all this other bullshit that we've been asking for all the DEI programs, refunding USAID, giving money back to NPR and fucking PBS and all that shit.
1.5 trillion, all the things that you outlined, but maybe just the Obamacare enhanced subsidies. Can you confirm that has been something that Senator Schumer? Yeah,
I can
confirm it. He said it publicly, breathlessly. He's complained that 4 leaders won't go in a back room, smoke-filled room, and make a deal. That's not how this works. I don't operate that way. When I became Speaker, I vowed to my colleagues that we would return to regular order. I would decentralize the Speaker's office, and it would not be a top-down, hoisted upon the membership kind of program anymore. This is a member-driven.
Well, you think that Democrats would highly respect that, and they would commend that since they want our country to essentially become a socialism, authoritarian, damn near dictatorship. At least that's what it would devolve into. But socialism. So, we should be transparent with all the people because they want to create the people's government.
Consensus-driven operation. That's how the founders intended it to work. They did not want 4 people to go in a back room and make a deal.
No.
By the way, I couldn't do that on something as complicated as extension of Obamacare COVID subsidies because we have to find the consensus. There's 100 different ideas on how to improve that, and we needed the time in October and November to work through that with all the members. I refuse to go in a back room with Chuck Schumer and make a deal.
Amen.
I don't operate that way. It's not good for the people. It's not good for financial stewardship, and it's part of the reason we're $37 trillion in debt as a nation, because you have 2 or 3 or 4 people in a back room doing that. We're not operating that way. That's Chuck Schumer's old way. We need this to work for the people again, and that's what I'm insistent upon. And I'll keep telling them that publicly and privately.
Oh, hell yeah, man. Speaker Johnson, he just went up a couple notches in my book for him actually coming out and saying that, because he didn't have to come out and say that. He could have just kept that to himself. And I'm sure in the past that he probably would have kept it to himself. But now that times are a-changing. If you enjoyed the video, I hope you take a quick second to give it a like and subscribe to the channel. And check out The Swamp, which drops Monday through Friday at 11 p.m. Eastern, covering the daily happenings inside the federal machine. Thank you very much for watching.